time. Okay, everything glued together. Okay, which is great. It would kind of suck if it didn't want to glue together, but it did, so we good. So today I'm going to be modeling a pendant design inspired by Luca Kaneshiro from Nijisanji EN, because I really like his hair clip here. Except that if it was real, it would probably be too heavy to actually stay on, especially in that position. So it's not actually, it's like anime jewelry, right? In anime and fantasy, you can make jewelry do whatever the heck you want it to do, but cosplayers will have hell in real life, because if they make it in any of the materials that the original one's in, it's gonna be so heavy, there's like no way it's gonna stay on. Most of, like, or some of them, even if you don't even make it with like plastic, it might not still stay on because that shit's like floating in there or something. Anyways, so yeah, I really like the simplicity but of the hair clip design, and I also thought that we could embellish that with a little bit of lion from Augustus here, because he's very cute. But we're not going to do any of his facial detail because he's going to be very small, so facial detail on something that small is just not going to show up on the jewelry. But we're going to use like his head shape because he has a pretty simple but kind of distinctive head shape that we can use. I think we're gonna start around 30 millimeters, and we can adjust as needed afterwards. It's one of the things I really like, because you could just move lines separately later if need be. Okay, I'll start midline then. As usual, I'll move it later if I have to. And I'm thinking 2 millimeters thick. To start with, at least. I'm not going to join any of the pieces yet, just so that they'll be easier to move around separately. Okay, next will be the triangles. Testing out the angles of these triangles first. And zoom out. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, since this is 2 millimeters, let's see if we can do 2 millimeters for these as well. If I could just offset them. I mean, if not, is this too far in? We'll see. That is okay, actually. That's not too bad. Okay, so we're gonna select all this because I want to use it for trimming. So I can trim the inner one there. Then, since I'm not going to change them, I will join. And I'll copy them. And one more time. There we go. Okay, that looks pretty good, right? About 10. Oh, my squares are 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter to give you scale. And okay, now that we've got the shape, I'm going to join all of it. And then I'm going to start trimming. Trimming away all the little bits and join all of them. Okay, so now this is one whole object now. But since these are especially triangles, I'm going to go in and fillet curves and round out the angles. Even just a little bit, but especially important for triangles, or else triangles are especially stabby. Not only do they not cast well, but they're very, very stabby. Oh, hello. Hello, record light. But yes, angles are very stabby. So unless you want your customer or anyone who's gonna wear jewelry to run basically and stab yourself any percent run, you should probably fillet angles, because anything that casts out, like especially for triangles, are actually very sharp even after polishing. I know from personal experience, because one of the times I decided to be lazy and decide, this will be fine, I don't need to round out my triangles, it'll be fine. And holy crap, that pendant was spiky. I was like, I held it and it kind of stabbed my hand. So I was like, okay, lesson learned. Next time, round out all your edges. Every single one of them. Even if a little bit. Because it doesn't, see? Just a little bit of a difference. But that makes it not cast as a point. And it doesn't impact the design, but it makes a whole lot of difference otherwise. Yeah, like this is an obtuse angle. So you don't need to round out this because it's already more than 90 degrees. Just need to do it to everything 90 degrees and less, preferably. See, even the pointy triangle didn't make that big of a difference, and people will thank you for it later. Now we are just going to round out every single one of them. And this is a lot of triangles. It's kind of a reason why triangles are not super popular in jewelry, because they're kind of a pain in the ass. And they kind of cast terribly. And they get stuck in the mold more, I feel. So we're taking preventative measures. And triangles like to, well, not flat triangles, but like pyramids end in points, and that really don't cast very well. So and it has a lot of problems. So a lot of things won't cast, a lot of places won't cast things that end with a point because the chances of it coming out incomplete or the metal not flowing all the way to the tip is so high that a lot of like mass casting companies don't want to risk it, so they always have like a minimum. So it's better to not do that at all, I guess. Okay, here is our same design with all the corners all rounded out. So let's take this whole thing and extrude it and see what it looks like. One extrude for 2, because 1 is 2 less, but you don't want the pendant to be super bulky. I mean, bulky pendants have its purpose, but this pendant is also pretty simplistic. But yeah, so 2 is pretty good. Like 1.5 might look stylistically better, but this pen is also not tiny, so it needs to have some structural integrity to it. And you don't want it to be snappable that easily. Although it is a pendant and it's not like a ring or bracelet. Sorry. So it doesn't need to be that strong, but it should still have some structural integrity. Okay, that looks fine. So let's make the lion piece. Lion mane is basically 2 triangles. The mane is interesting. The mane is a David star. So I feel the easiest way to build a David star is probably just with 2 triangles, right? And join. See if I can. Then we'll scooch that on its way down. Is that even? That looks a little off. Scooch it some more. That's even, right? Sort of, kind of, maybe. Well, we'll see, we'll see. Okay, so I'm going to do some trimming. And then join. And then we'll do the rounding out again because this is also a bunch of pointy things. No points allowed. Okay. And then, actually let me move this to the other side so I can better kind of see what's going on here. Okay. That sort of looks like it, right? Could be a little more squished. I mean, this is also like a 3/4 view. Let's squish it a little bit and see what happens. Does it look cuter? Yeah, it kind of looks cuter. Okay, we're just gonna do the round thing. Let's get a circle, sphere, sphere. Okay. Is this sort of the middle? It's okay, I'll move it later. That looks about right? Let's move this to another layer. That is definitely offside. Let me turn off the grid lock. And sort of manually position it. Okay. Now the big question is, do I bother with the other details like the bow tie and the ears? Like, will they show up at all? Maybe the ears. Let's put little ellipsoids for the ears. And we'll see if they stick out enough. Oh, that is not what I wanted. That's a little big. Ellipsoid from center. Okay, let's do the. Because then these will only be like maybe 1 millimeter big. And that's a detail I'm not sure will show up. But let's give it a try, I guess. Might be cute. And the third axis. Okay, we're gonna make it tall because it's gonna need to go through the mane that I haven't extruded out yet. So it'll look less awkward then. Okay, let's mirror this over. For this. It's kind of cute. Maybe we should rotate it a little bit. I know it doesn't look exactly like the ears, but these are gonna be so tiny that I was wondering if we should make them on there anyways. So it just needs to give the feeling of an ear. I guess that's the point. I might also have to move them up a little. You want to leave enough edges. Okay, let's extrude this and see what we end up with. Extrude. Side view. Maybe maybe 2 as well, but I kind of want maybe less. But if it's too less, I'm worried about structural integrity again. Maybe I'll go with 1.5. Let's go perspective. Is mane too thick? Maybe it is too thick. Let's actually hide this. Oops. Wait, is that not it? Okay. Let's hide, yeah, that. Let's hide that first. Hide those as well. They're kind of getting in the way currently. Okay, now we can focus on this. Maybe we make it slightly thinner. Don't worry about things sticking out the other side. We'll chop it off soon enough. Maybe I'll make the snout too, but that will require this to be less prominent. Does that still look good? That looks okay, I guess. Maybe want it to look bigger, so we scooch it up. Yeah, let's scooch it up. Like the middle center is the biggest point, so we'll scooch up to the middle and see what it looks like. Okay, that doesn't look bad. Okay. The ears look so weird like that. Oops. It's doing things. This. That looks less odd, right? Okay. Well, let's cut the stuff that's sticking out. Hold on. Let's move these up. Because once again, actually might not need to cut these after all. I'll just keep moving them up and like shrinking them. Then they'll be all the way inside. Lol. Okay, that's great. Oh, that's funny. See, how much are they sticking out? They're sticking out about a little more than one. So I can actually, as long as they stick out more than 0.5, they should show up in the casting. So 0.5 millimeter. Anything bigger than 0.5 millimeter would generally show up. It's about 1 right now, so I guess it's fine. Wonder if side view. What if I just shrunk it all the way in? How tall would it be? Actually, it's still pretty tall. I could angle the ears. Wait. What do you mean by angle it? Okay, let me make this kind of like the snout ellipsoid first. Okay, so which way do you think they should point up or more point down? Point up? That's kind of cute. Like this whole lion's head is about 1 centimeter ish, like circumference. I mean diameter. My bad. Like if this were bigger, then I'd totally put in more details, and I'd even like take it into like Nomad and like concave in the ears and stuff. But the ears are literally like 1 millimeter. I think I'll move them closer in. But rotating does make them kind of cuter and more dynamic, so it's a good idea. Okay, let me put that snout on and we can change like the shape and whatever later. Kinda like that. Oops, now it's like stuck in there. Look about right. Let's see if it's sticking out enough. Okay, sticking out more than 0.5 millimeter, so it's kind of cute. Should I just add like eyes at this point? But he has that like smirk and that. Like, there's no way I can add that line and have it be proportional on this. Because if I add the eyes, it would be literally 1 millimeter dots. Like, it will be one square big. I guess I could. Do I make it? No, I don't think I can make it smaller. Any smaller, it might not show up at all, or it'll show up as a weird lump. So let's put one eye on to see if it like looks okay. Not okay. Probably doesn't look okay. It looks a little weird. Okay, no. Okay, I think no eyes. Because you can kind of like see it. It looks a little bulging. But I'm also kind of hesitant to make it smaller than a single millimeter. So we're gonna like oval and angle them inward. Are you talking about the Xinnieh expression or the actual eyeball? The angry expression. Okay, my problem with that is it doesn't matter what shape I use, it's just going to be too small. Because you see the angry expression, the line is basically 1, 2, 3, about a quarter of whatever eyeball it has. That means if I shrunk this, because 1 millimeter still looks kind of odd, right? So if I shrunk it even more, let's just completely give on the grid. So if I shrink it like maybe to that, that's like half a millimeter to make it more like, let's side view down, and then we'll mirror it over like this point. So it'll be like that, right? That means the Xinnieh expression would be literally maybe 1/6 to 1/7, maybe 1/8 of a single millimeter. That will absolutely not show up. I think the smallest details that I could like comfortably maybe get differentiated or casted is about 0.25 to 0.3 millimeter. Anything smaller or closer together, unless you don't mind them like melding to it, like some bead designs, that small is okay because the crazy like bead lace design, you don't need it to be very defined. But because this is like a little thing's face, you kind of want it to not kind of be melty together, because then it just looks like it's from a horror show. Okay, these need to be more inset because you can't cast it like this, because then casting thing will plaster will get stuck here actually. Oh, it didn't take both of them with it. That's a bummer. Okay. So you want this instead. But yeah, there's all sorts of weird considerations to take because it needs to be, jewelry is always casted, at least at this point. I think there's very, very few places that can 3D print in precious metals right now. So maybe in the future when there's like better technology, then and they could just print it instead of casting it, then there'll be even like people could do more crazier things with their models. But right now, because everything is still casted, you can't get that crazy. Like you can, except for you'll just be disappointed at the end. I want to try a little bit of surface filleting. I want to see if it'll work. Surface. Wait. Kind of. Hold on. I feel like there's a different tool for filleting. Maybe that was it. it. We'll give that a try. But yeah, like right now, all the really complicated filigree on like the vintage inspired stuff, the really small fine details, they're actually still done by hand. Like I have a friend who does that type of hand engraving filigree, and it's amazing to watch her do that. But it's also very much like a hand skill. Let's see if this will do its thing. I don't think this is going to go the way I want it to. Hold on. I could have sworn there's... Okay. Escape. Fillet edge. There it is. I just can't find the icon. Okay. I'm going to select all the edges before giving this a try. Okay. Radius of 1 is kind of large. Point. 125? Is that maybe small enough? Show radius, yes. Oh, that is way too large. Let's... Wait, why did it... Oh, did it not change? No wonder, it was like 1. I was like, what is going on? I did change that. Why is it? Okay, let's try one more time. Wait, what do you mean jaw? Oh. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to do this. Try to do the edges first and then... Okay, let's try this first. Oh, it died. Never mind. So this is what it looks like when it dies. I wonder if it'll work if I just did one. Like that is what it looks like when a model breaks. GG. Okay, so it does... No, it doesn't. Like freaking triangles. That's why I hate them. Okay, we're not gonna do that. Let's not break things. Okay. So you're saying that it looks like a really big nose. So, is there anything I can do to change that? Like, should I make another nose on top of this? Oops. Let's not do that. Okay. Like another oval. Ellipsoid. Okay, we'll just get it on there and then we'll change it up. Let's get a different color. Let's so we can see it better. Let's, oops, shrink it. Okay, that is too shrunk for me. Side view. Does that look better? That look more like a snout now? Okay. I think this will work, but wow, this charm is really, really tall now. Let's see, how tall is it? It's like 1.5, 2. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3. I want to say 4, and then you minus, so it's about 3.5. Kind of tall now. I think it should be still okay. Like, I want to make his head maybe a little more inset, as if for that would be a little weird, right? Because then the snouts had to minimally be protruding 0.5, or else you can't differentiate the ovals from each other. And this is currently about 1 1/5. So maybe I could flatten this slightly. Of course, I'll move all this. Wait, why is it all this? No, okay, that's way too. All these. Oh my god, just pick it up. Okay. Move all these correspondingly in. Like, I'm honestly a little worried that the nose won't show up, but even if the nose doesn't show up, that's fine, right? I mean, like, that the nose is a less defined lump is not that big of an issue, honestly. The other stickler thing is, all this will be probably fine. It'll probably, like, 3D print fine. But that's not what I'm worried about. But it should be okay. I mean, it can kind of, it's prominent enough that I would probably roll the dice on it. It's roll dice rollable. Oh my goodness, I haven't saved. Okay. We've made a lot of progress. I really need to save. Give me 1 second. I keep forgetting to save. Of course, that is fine unless your computer like dies or crashes, or the computer crashes, or the program crashes. Then you're absolutely screwed. But taller on the y-axis. What is you mean on the z-axis? Because currently my y-axis is the thing in blue, my x-axis is the thing in red, and like over here is basically, this is what I personally call the z-axis. So do you mean like which axis are you actually talking about? The actual y-axis, okay. So what do you mean by taller? You mean... You mean like... okay. Like, kind of like that? And then we'll move it down a little bit. Kind of like that. Let's see if everything's still actually staying within the circle. Okay, things are still staying within the circle. Okay, so we're basically done with the lion. I don't think we're gonna do its bow tie because proportionally I don't think we can get that, especially not with all the details on there. We'll see. If we really want the bow tie, I guess we can come back for it later. Yeah, I don't... let me see. Well, we can't... do we? Do we not? It won't be proportionate, obviously. Because then proportion will make it like about this big. Do you think I should try? I mean, it's obviously not gonna have like the pleats and stuff, but we can probably do it. Maybe. I guess. Let's. This. Okay, I guess we can try and see. I will build on side view. Ooh! They ran away. Okay, I would use Tauruses. Taurus at 2 point. Like, normally this will be not good. Normally don't use Tauruses with insides this big, this small, I mean. But right now that's not important. We're just using it as kind of a base. Let's go for that. Where did it go? Oh my goodness, why is it over there? Let's scooch it closer to us. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we just take this and let's zoom in. Zooming in is easier. Duplicate it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just put up there to see if it'll be too big. It's slightly big. Let's overlap them a little. Oh, will they even show? Okay, this is where it kind of doesn't matter, because even if all 4 of them show up as like one blob, it literally makes no difference. It's... yeah, well, it is definitely gonna show up as one blob at this point, but I actually make this smaller. Like this entire thing is 1 millimeter square. It's almost exactly 1 millimeter square. So freaking tiny. I mean, to get a sense of how small and big things are, I have a actual ruler on my desk in millimeters. Oops, sorry about that. In millimeters. And so I can see it physically how absurdly small it is. And it's kind of hilariously funny. Oops. Oh no, I just lost it inside. It's okay. There is a thing called X-ray vision. Then we could fish it out again. Okay. Okay, so for the two kind of pointy-ish things, let's just draw it from two curves. Oops. And then we'll just shrink it down later. Kinda like that. I should probably do it flat. Sort of. What if I just okay. Skip. Let's do that. And we'll mirror it over this point. Sort of like that, except for we will join them. Yeah. And then squish them. See? And then it goes in a little bit. So we do another arc direction. And it doesn't go all the way in, goes a little bit in. It's okay, we'll fix the kinks in it afterwards. And then we take all of them and we join. And then let's see if I can rebuild this. Oh dear lord, okay. Up the count. Yeah, it's much better. Great. Going to put this on green, I think. Then I'll put a line. I think instead of trying to like loft or anything, I think I'm just gonna see if I can rotate the surface out. Oh no, then you cut this piece in half so it doesn't. Okay, let's split with point. Do midpoint. So now this is two pieces again. I'll take one of these and surface revolve, start revolve axis here and here, full circle, angle equals 0. Oh, wait, what's it doing? Starting goes shit. Okay, it's been a while since I used Revolve. Let's put it on this. Okay, well, wait, Revolution 360. Delete, put no, full circle, yes. Okay, I didn't. It came out fine. Ta-da! Okay, it's slightly big. So we'll just take this piece and see how much smaller we need to make this. It's kind of close to that color. Let's change that so we can tell a bit easier. Oh, that's still big. Okay, let's move it in place first and then we'll resize it. Yeah, that point is not happening, first of all. And second of all, this is still too large. Let's turn this off. Okay, let's stuff it in there. Make it slightly thinner. Scooch it up a little. Oops. Okay. Should I make it shorter so it doesn't stick out the end? Well, first of all, we need to scooch all of these. Wait, let me see if let me save first. Okay, let me. Do I mirror it now? I'll mirror it later because right now it might still make changes to it. Yes, because these are kind of a pain in the ass, so I'm going to take one, two, three, four of them, and since they're solid, I'm going to Boolean union them together into one piece. Great, okay. We'll move these up a little bit. And so kind of side view out a little bit. Kind of like that, so it looks like it's kind of on the chin. And we're gonna make it shorter. Scooch it over. Make it. Yeah, that's a little too thin. Maybe like that. That way it also doesn't stick over an edge. Yeah, it looks kind of cute. Let's do that, and then we'll mirror that over to the other side. Yay, he has an entire bow now. Okay, I'm gonna save. then I'm gonna take. I wonder if I could just Boolean union all three. Let's try it and see what happens. I don't think it did it. Yeah, it didn't. What if I use join? Wait, did it do anything? Nope. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna cap it. Okay, let's see. Now it's a solid. Okay. Let's cap this one too then. And we'll also check. Valid close. Great. So now all three are solid objects. Let's see. The hard part seems like you could clip into yeah, no, I kind of want it to look like it's clipping into the head. Like, cause you know how when you're kind of like fluffy and it's kind of like digging into you. Yeah. So I kind of wanted that. Okay. So now I'm going to these are all solid objects, right? So I'm going to just Boolean union everything together at once and see if that'll work. If it does, great. If not, I'll think of something else. Yay, I think it worked. Oh, you're on the right side? Is it hangover? Nah. No, not really. No. You're right. It doesn't look super. Okay, you know what? Now that you point out, it kind of bothers me a little. So I'm gonna take all three, and we're gonna scooch it over just slightly. Okay. No, it was fine. You did point out that it wasn't exactly symmetrical. Of course, like, it's one of those things that once you see it, you can't unsee it. So after you pointed it out, I had to change it. Which is fine. Okay. Let's grab everything and union. Do it. Every time we do it's a different color. Fantastic. Okay. Well, let's save it as a different file. Every time I do big Boolean union things, that changes, basically consolidates everything or make large changes. I like to save on a separate file, so in case I ever need the parts ever again later on down the line, then I can have a version that still had all the parts separated, so I can still, you know, fiddle with it, pull it around and stuff like that. So since I Booleaned them all together, I decided to save it on another file. Okay, now that this is done, we can bring back our base. We can make the lines go away because we don't need those anymore. And we'll just move this very cute icon into place. Let's see, side view. You want it to overlap a little bit because you later on we're gonna Boolean them together. And what is that? There's a, what am I seeing? What the hell? What the actual hell is this? What on earth? Okay, you know what? Goodbye. I was like, what am I looking at? Okay. So now to decide, where do I want... I feel like it would be cuter if we... Oops. Escape. If we kind of rotate him in. Like that, maybe? It's kind of cuter that way. Maybe, should I do him in different color? We'll put this on this layer. At least they're in all part of the same color family now, so it's a little less jarring, I suppose. So now my thing is, do I put him maybe here? Or do I maybe put him closer to the bottom? Or more in the middle? Like that. Edges of the star, so it's not super sharp right now, so it's fine. Middle or top, yeah. And another thing is, this is like slightly on top, so theoretically it shouldn't be touching anything. Like, it shouldn't be touching your body, since it's like that. And it helps that it's going to be tacked onto something and it's going to be flat. Right, middle or the top? Let's, to get a true sense of the balance, let's bring in the, oops, that was not it. Let's bring in the bail. This is something I've made beforehand. I use in a lot of my pendants. And it's also triangular, so I feel like it fit this particular pendant quite well as well. Like, there's no point in like remaking a bail if whatever you have already works. See, like that. Okay. Okay, I think at this point we can turn off the references because we basically don't need those anymore. No. Like, if it was a hair clip, I would either have to model the clip part or we would be soldering it on. We would probably be soldering onto a silver clip because there are silver hair clips out there that you could just like solder it on. But I decided because not everyone can wear a hair clip, and yeah, more people can wear pendants than can wear hair clips. So I feel a pendant is more versatile. So I decided to repurpose his hair clips to make a pendant. And now we can render things. Let's see. We'll angle it slightly. And let's open the render. Brown plane. I kind of wanted to try this black and red marble. We'll see how it goes. If it hates us, then we'll do a normal one. Let's render it in gold. Because Luca's color scheme is very gold, yellow, black, whitish. So we'll do classic fast first. Yeah, I like how it looks. One of the bad things for metal is that is kind of terrible at rendering because it will just reflect everything. So it's kind of hard to. It's all about trial and error. So you pick an angle. You're never quite sure. See now how the light wants to do its thing. Right now it hates us. So we will just try a slightly different angle. And that looks even worse. Okay, that is not happening. Let's try sunroom. I really like sunroom, except for sunroom does not render that fast. It's a more. I can control the light better, except for it will require me to go into the settings and actually fiddle with the light. Instead, I can just angle it at a different angle and the light will magically maybe fix itself. I don't know, it hasn't really been a problem. Like, I can always just tilt something at an interesting angle and have it be okay. See, I like sunroom, except for sunroom is a slow render. So. I don't super like how this is turning out. Maybe I won't. Maybe we do a different background too. Let's see, stones. Does the black marble maybe look better? We'll try the. No, the black marble is not better. Tan marble. Just trying all sorts of things now. That's kind of cute. Let's see if we can get a bigger. I think I was too zoomed out, so we didn't really get a good look at it. Let's try again with being a little closer up. Oops. Uh-oh. I did something to the angle. Let's try this again. Yeah. Rendering is usually when you let the computer do its work and then you twiddle your thumbs and maybe play like a phone game or two. Oh, that turned out much better actually. That looks pretty cute. Okay, let's render a slightly better, bigger version of it. And watch it go. Yeah, another thing that's kind of terrible is flat surfaces kind of render terribly as well. So you just have to pick the less terrible angles. But at least the focal point is the Augustus's, I want to say face, but it's basically the whole thing is basically his face. So that's basically the focal point. And that's mostly like round shapes. So round shapes render pretty well because they are very dynamic in reflecting light. So as long as it looks good and the other flat surfaces don't look all dark or all light. Like you saw us try it in like a few angles before, and it was either too bright or too dark, and none of the gold was showing up. But in this one, the gold does show up, so that's pretty much good enough for flat surfaces. Because you're not going to get super realistic, because what happens is flat surfaces will reflect most of what we see of reflections in real life on flat surfaces is literally the items that are around it. And since the render is a perfect environment, it's not going to have all those other items unless of course we put it in there specifically to bounce light off of. So it's normally like a clean environment, so there's less for flat surfaces to reflect off of. Oh no, is my internet giving out? Oh no, please, we're almost done. That's so strange. It was fine for basically the entire time until now. Okay, so this is going to be the final render, and then we're done with this project. But so I'll post the final render on my social media after I end stream. So you could see it in all its high def glory, or well, as high def as social media will let you put in any any single image. I think they reduce resolution and quality on the social media sites for the preservation of their site. So yeah, the sunroom gives a lot better light because it is literally it's basically emulates a sunroom. So they put in more items to reflect off of it, and the lighting is warmer, which works well for gold because you want the gold to seem warmer. But while using it for silvers, it will sometimes give off like yellow reflections depending on the angle you use it on. So you have to kind of be more careful with that. It's almost done rendering. Oh. Hello, Captrees. I'm sorry, it's not terribly exciting right now. I think. Okay, it finished. Yay! My computer was just doing its render thing. So there's nothing, literally like nothing for us to do except for stand here and chat and twiddle our fingers until the computer did its thing. Okay, so this will be once again, this will be the final render of our pendant. And I will post it up on my social medias after this. But yeah, we are done. See, it has everything Luca. It's a very Luca pendant. I'm pretty happy with it because I feel like it, from like the gold hues to Augustus to his hair clip, I feel like it embodies him pretty well. Oh. No, rendering is just making a final image by on a 3D model by giving it a skin so that it looks realistic, like a digital picture except for digital photo. So it seems like I just took a picture of my 3D model. But yeah. You joined at either a good time or a bad time. It depends on your point of view, I guess. Cause good time because you get to see the final product because we're done. So if you want to see what it turned out to look like, you're in perfect time for that because this is what it looks like. But if you want to see how it was done, we just finished that part, warts and all. But we're happy to have you here. Yeah, rendering is basically making things in the virtual world look like how they're supposed to look like in real life, so you can get a good approximation of what they look like, so you can decide whether or not you want to bring them into real life or not. Like, I can send this model to get printed and then casted, and then I will have it for reals in the real world because I made this as a solid object. And after I get it made, this is about what it should look like. Yep. No problem. No problem. Well, I sort of explain things as I go. I don't explain things that detailedly, but I do explain like what I'm doing in parts, and then we take all those parts and then we glue them all together. And then we have our end product. But yeah, I think this is all. Yeah, nice to meet you too. Thank you for dropping by. Okay, this will be it from me, I think. Nice to see you all. Thank you for dropping by and saying hi, and even just to see the end product. That's very cool too.